Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, and this is just going to be a fun, quick add-on show. A lot of people that cruise out of Port Canaveral obviously end up spending time before or after their cruises down at Walt Disney World, and they've got a lot of different opportunities to see different things or experience the parks in different ways. And I'd like to welcome back to the show Adam from Philadelphia. How you doing today, Adam?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out and doing this. You know, we don't cover the parks necessarily so much. There's a lot of shows out there that do that, but I thought you touched on kind of an interesting topic that I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing a little bit more of, and that is talking about early morning magic hours. And where did you guys go for those?
Yeah, so we did the early morning magic at the Magic Kingdom. They offer that on Sundays and Tuesdays, and then we did the early morning magic at Toy Story Land, and that is on Mondays and Wednesdays. They seem to be until August, and then things kind of change until when Star Wars Land's opened up, but I'm sure they're going to be back on the schedules once everything gets ironed out with Star Wars Land because, you know, it seems pretty popular both days I were there, so.
Perfect. Well, before we talk about that itself, why don't we talk a little bit about where you guys stayed and where did you guys stay this time and how did you do it?
We stayed at the Boardwalk Villas DVC member, so we used points and had a one-bedroom villa standard. So we had a sweet view of the parking lot, but it's well worth saving the points than, you know, looking at a pool. So, yeah, that's where we stayed. We like that area. Quick into Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and trying to get one more stay in there because when Star Wars Lands opens up, I'm sure the 7-month window is going to get a little more aggressive for the Beach Club and Boardwalk to be a little closer to the action.
Yeah, don't feel bad. I think last time we stayed at Aulani, we were looking at the air conditioning unit too. So we own out at Aulani, and that's why I bring that up. But yeah, so we like to save our points as well. Well, is that where you guys own? Is the Boardwalk?
No, actually, yeah, I do own a few points there. Mainly Saratoga Springs and Animal Kingdom, and I guess Boulder Ridge. Okay. Yeah, I had an add-on-itis after I bought the first time. I kept buying 30-point contracts for a good 3 years after I bought my first buy-in. So
perfect. And what are your thoughts of staying at Boardwalk? Is that a resort you guys like, or is that when you gravitate towards?
Yeah, we tend to stay there often. There at the Beach Club, mainly because of, you know, just less bus rides to parks with my son, 2 years old, is trying to drag that stroller on the buses is not ideal for us. So we like Epcot too. And, you know, so it's just convenience. It's 100% convenience. Our favorite resort DVC is Wilderness Lodge by far. So if that had access to parks, we'd be probably there all the time. So
the one thing I've heard about the Boardwalk, and is this kind of true? Just kind of, you know, trying to wrap my head around, we won't get too deep in the woods with DVC, but is it usually easier to find rooms at Boardwalk versus Beach Club? I always hear about Beach Club. But
yeah, so we tend to travel in May for the big week trip, and Beach Club and Boardwalk are available at that 7-month if you're on that day, 7-month window. But from what I've seen in my experiences, Beach Club will definitely fill up, and also at that 7-month window in that May, right after Easter timeframe, you can get standard Boardwalk rooms, and they tend to fill up a lot faster. So there's a lot of availability then, but generally speaking, Beach Club fills way faster than Boardwalk because they have a third of the rooms, I think. It's a way smaller resort. People love the pool, and the pool's great, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's that one that shares with the yacht club, right? Where the sand and everything
else. The bigger water slide, a little mini lake, yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool, so.
Yeah.
Well, you get the clown pool, right, that everybody loves.
Yeah, the clown pool. And they do have a playground for the kid, for a little kid, so that was actually a bonus. But, yeah, the clown pool.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit about early morning magic hours then. So, or Disney early morning magic. What made you guys decide to want to do this?
So mainly this was a function of trying to maximize the time with my son. You know, he's still in a stroller, obviously, but getting him in the stroller and out of the stroller, everything's a little more complicated in that 2 to 3 year old range than it was before. And he's not yet fully on I'm going to be lazy and get pushed around everywhere. So it was mainly to let him kind of just go wild. And I wanted to bring him in there and ride rides over and over again. He also has a little issue when the ride is over. He doesn't want to leave. And at Disney, you can't really be like, can I ride again? You know, sorry, everyone waiting 1 hour to ride Peter Pan. So that was just the whole aspect. I heard good things about it from the bloggers that reviewed it. And so I felt like it was a good good thing to invest the money into, to try to get just a open area where we could, kind of do as much as we can in that time frame.
Do you think this would be easy for somebody to do like the morning of cruise as well, if they weren't worried about getting out there at 10 o'clock or, to rope drop the cruise terminal? Is this something that you think that somebody could fit in before they headed out to Port Canaveral as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, okay, so basically how it worked was that we'll do the Magic Kingdom, because that would be the one I would say to invest the money in if you're in this situation. So it's 8 o'clock or 7:45 to 9 o'clock is your time back there. The only thing that was negative I would say about the Magic Kingdom is instead of letting you like walk down Main Street, say around 7:30 or whatever, they held you until 7:45, everyone in the front of the park. And then at 7:45, they started letting you back. And everyone had a wristband, so they knew to separate us from like the people eating at, say, Be Our Guest 8 o'clock or whatever. So then we walked in, and so you did waste, I'd say, 5-10 minutes, depending how fast you are. We, of course, had to stop for Starbucks, so we wasted another 5 minutes to get back into the area. So that would be the only negative about the Magic Kingdom experience. So once you get back there, you're there for an hour and 15 hour, then you have breakfast. You can eat breakfast up until 10 o'clock. So you actually can ride rides until 10 o'clock or 9:45, go eat, and then you're done. You can leave, you can go back and you're done by 10 o'clock if you wanted to maximize the full time. So 2 hours in the park before you get on the boat. And then, if you get a bus at 11 o'clock, or if you have a private car, you definitely can be the port by 12, no questions asked.
Perfect. Well, let's just keep rolling with the Magic Kingdom then, since we started there. And what all did it include? You talked about food, the rides. What all did it include? Do you remember what the price was per person?
Yeah, $79 per adult plus tax and $69 per kids, and children under 3 are free. So if you do have kids under 3, this is take advantage of that, because they're free. They get to eat. They give you all the food in the world. And my son's a little taller. He could have ridden Mine Train, but I haven't yet got him on the roller coaster besides like the Goofy one. So he could do all the rides. And so it includes Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, Meet the Princesses, the Carousel, Mine Train, and Little Mermaid, and Small World. So those are the rides that are open. And pretty much the only time we waited was for Mine Train, and that was about 10 minutes.
That's amazing, because that's two of the biggest rides in Fantasyland, right? Peter Pan and Mine Train.
And literally, we stayed on Peter Pan 3 times in a row. You did not have to get off.
So you can stay on Peter Pan. You just got to go to early morning magic hour.
You can stay on the rides. And we walked in to Meet the Princesses, and we were the only people in there, and they spent so much time with my son. We got the best pictures with them and him. And even like that, if you have a child into characters and princesses or whatever, there was no rush. You didn't feel that group behind you. Like, just, I don't know about you. I have like anxiety when we go up there. I want to be like courteous to the person next to me. I don't want to waste anyone's time. And I'm always like, all right, let's get the picture, probably doing my family a disservice, but like, there's no worry. No one's breathing down your neck. They're just talking to you, and the princess were interacting and engaging him. It was worth it just for that. It was amazing.
Yeah. So, how often do you get that at Disney World, where you actually get that much time with the characters? Is there?
Besides these paid extra events, I can't even think of a time unless you randomly, we're walking down a street and, they were walking to the thing. Maybe you talk to them for a few minutes. I've never seen it. So.
Well, so did you guys end up doing all the rides then, or did you skip? Yeah, besides Mine Train, I guess.
Yeah, we did everything but Small World. And that was just because, I could do it once, but if my son made me stay on that 2 or 3 times with the song, I would have, gotten a little crazy. So, so we did everything. Mine Train. So we maximized the hour. And then as soon as the park opened, we did Dumbo, and we rode on the little roller coaster, the Goofy one, Barnstormer, again, like 3 times in a row, all before like 9:20. And then we made it down and had breakfast at, say, 9:30. And then we hit Buzz and the Space Mountain, and that was it for us that day. So we had everything. We were done by like 10:30.
Wow. How was the breakfast? What did that entail, and where was that at?
Yeah, so that was at Cosmic Rays, and it was basically everyone got a breakfast platter, and it had your eggs, potatoes, bacon, sausage, that type of stuff, and it was all standard. So everyone got and pancakes. Everyone got the same breakfast there, and then they had like a Danish bar and like a Fixins bar with a continental breakfast. I guess that's what you would call it. They had that, and then all the milk and drinks and orange juice and waters you could want. You could literally say, "Can I have 10 waters?" And they just gave them to you. They didn't count. You could have. I mean, they checked your wristbands. Once you were in there, you would have been like, "Can I have 5 breakfasts?" They just give them to you. So I would say out of the 2 events, the breakfast was okay there. The Hollywood Studios had more options, and it was a better breakfast. So.
And was that like a separate area then that you went into, I guess? So it kept out people once the park opened, it kind of kept you guys separate. So
yeah, they don't. I guess they don't really open Cosmic Rays till closer to lunch. So
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, they just had us there. So yeah, and it just like it even kept the BR guest people away from all the rides, because I know I've used the BR guest trick where you get the 8 o'clock reservation. You stuff your face and then you wait at Mine Train, and they normally let you on before the big herd of people come up, but they kept all those people out there. So that's something that you want to be for both parks. If there's an early morning Magic and you plan on rope dropping Mine Train or Toy Story Land, don't do it. Don't go that morning, because there is already a queue full of people at Mine Train, and Toy Story Land is packed before you get in. So you spend all that time getting there early, waiting the rope drop, and then you're just running into a line. And I know a lot of people don't realize that, because the amount of people I saw doing that, it was just like, man, you guys just wasted hours of your vacation.
Oh, man. Well, that's a good point there. Well, okay, so speaking of it, your son's younger, he's 2. If you hadn't, that's all you guys did that day for the park, was just do the early morning Magic Hour?
Yeah, and then so we were done by I'd say we were back on the bus by 11 o'clock after we got out, time we got out of the park, and then took a break. Because I mean, getting there at 7:45, realistically you're up at 6:15, and you got to be on that bus by 7, and you're kind of waiting for a bus, and hopefully it's coming, and if not, you're looking at minivans or Ubers, and it's like you get all nervous. So you want to give yourself enough time to get there. So it's a pretty early morning.
Well, our kids were always early morning risers. So, I mean, this seems like if you wanted to have just kind of a nice, get out there, do all those different rides, breakfast, and then, spend the rest of the day down at the resort playing in the pools or whatever else. If your kids are early morning risers, sounds like a perfect day for it.
Perfect day. And if you had to go to a signature restaurant or wherever, however you put your money to work on vacation, is this experience of the Magic Kingdom is definitely worth moving the dial to get yourself to this event. If you don't like crowds and you like Fantasyland and everything they offer you enjoy, it is definitely worth moving the dollars around to try to fit this in, because out of everything I've paid for Disney, extra events, Halloween parties, Christmas parties, by far this was worth every penny. No questions asked.
And I do apologize. I keep calling it early morning Magic Hour, but it's the early morning Magic, so it's more than an hour. So please.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's turn the tables then. The second one you went to was Toy Story Land. Let's talk about that one a little bit, kind of your experience getting into the park and spending time in Toy Story Land.
Okay, so Toy Story Land was a little less stressful getting to, because we could just walk from from Boardwalk Villas. That was a quick walk into the park, and they actually let you walk back closer to Toy Story Land. So they didn't keep you at the front of the park. So you kind of got a little bit of a head start. They did walk you around the Star Wars stage, a little funny, and back into the area past the old Great Movie Ride. So once you got back there, right at 7:45, they let you in. Now, I don't know the amount of tickets they sell to these events, but I would imagine they're probably a pretty similar number to make it profitable, because they have to run the rides and they need X amount of dollars to justify doing these events. So what I'm getting at is their amount of people. So Toy Story Land is a lot smaller than Fantasyland, so it just initially felt a lot more crowded. And as we'll get into the story, it felt a lot more crowded all around. So definitely a different experience.
So talk about for those who are not familiar with Toy Story Land, talk about the different rides that are open and available. And then I'm assuming they have characters in the breakfast as well.
Yes, so they have the breakfast, which is on the other side of the park at Backlot Express by Star Tours. So the characters, they have Buzz, and then they have Woody and Jessie. They might have Bo Peep now. I'm not 100% sure because I know they swapped things out for Toy Story Land recently in the parks. I don't know if they're doing that for Early Morning Magic. So Jessie and Woody, and then Slinky Dog, Alien Swirling Saucers, and Toy Story Midway Mania are all open. So what I learned is pretty much everyone goes in for Slinky Dog. And Slinky Dog, unless you were the first couple people there, had a 20-minute wait plus the whole time. So if you divert your energy to Slinky Dog, you are definitely going to kill some time. So the main theme about the Toy Story Land experience to the Magic Kingdom one was lines. The Toy Story Land was all lines. So as soon as you get in, you can meet Buzz. He's like the first one. I recommend doing that first. And if characters are important to you, you want to get into the Woody and Jessie line immediately. Because what happened was we kind of dumb lucked into it. My wife doesn't like any sort of motion rides. So I took my son to Midway Mania. And as we were coming out, she's texting me. She hopped in line for Woody and Jessie. And when we got out, she was like second in line. That line was 30 families deep at that time.
Wow.
And I mean, it was at least an hour wait just by how long it took the 4 people in front of us to go to the end of that line was crazy. So it was like a shame. Everyone was waiting for Woody and Jessie and then Slinky Dog. So we ended up doing Swirling Saucers and Midway Mania were walk-ons. No, they were fine. But the characters and Slinky had long lines, and you did eat up a lot of time. So I cannot say, unless for some reason you couldn't get any Slinky Dog Fast Passes, and the only thing you really want to do is ride Toy Story Land and experience it, I would have to say this is definitely not worth the money if you had to pick one compared to the Magic Kingdom one.
So the Slinky Dog lines, I've been listening to, people talk about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge where, initially there's a big line to fly the Millennium Falcon, but then it kind of died off as the 4 hours went by. But that wasn't the case here where the line stayed consistent the whole time as Slinky Dog and the characters. Okay.
Yeah, for the two, yeah. Now, Midway Mania had a little rush in the beginning, but then that cleared out. And then everyone was, like, the line for Jessie and Woody was, you literally would spend an hour you'd spend the whole time to meet Jessie and Woody. And it's like, because it's an outside, meet and greet, there aren't multiple rooms, so they're one at a time. So, I mean, you just know how long, like, it's being on the cruise line. When you're meeting Mickey in that atrium and there's 10 families in front of you, you can pretty much figure out how long that's going to take, 90 seconds per person or whatever. And it's not like, you're at the a character spot where you could go left or go right, and they're meeting in 2 spots. So it's a shame, but that's just how it shook down when we were there.
Okay, so bang for your buck sounds like Magic Kingdom is a better experience overall than the Toy Story Land. At least that's what you guys had. But let's just talk about the rides themselves. Did you guys ride Slinky Dog? I have not ridden that yet. And what were your thoughts if you did?
Yeah, we definitely rode it. My daughter and I rode it, and I love it. I mean, it's a great ride. It's obviously all rides you wish it was a little longer or whatever, but it's just enough thrills for someone not into crazy coasters, which I am. So it feels good, and it's fun and exciting, and it's got a cool animatronic at the end. So it's definitely worth a 20-minute wait. I would not wait 2 hours for it, but it's definitely worth that 20-minute wait in the morning. So.
Yeah. And what do you think of Alien Swirling Saucers?
I mean, it's a less of a Mater. Like Mater's is cool. This is a little less. It's the same ride system. Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. It's just it's okay. My son loves it. If he didn't want to go on it, I never would go on it again. It's just 45 seconds of spinning around. It's a people eater though. I mean, it did move a lot of people through. So at least in the morning we were there, but. I would kind of not waste your time.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I love Cars Lands, and
Yeah.
I think it's the music, the theming that really makes Maters. Because, like you said, the actual ride's the same thing.
Yeah,
But it's really just the music, and I just get a kick out of what's his name that voiced Mater? But
Larry the Cable Guy.
yeah, like, I get a kick out of him and just the songs. And at Christmas time, they changed the songs up, so they have Christmas type songs that he sings, which is kind of cool too. So
Cool. Yeah, that is cool.
yeah, if you ever get a chance to get out there for that. Okay, well, so how about the food then? You have to make your way.
So
over
that
to,
was So they have. So you walk. Okay. So this is what we did. So my son loves Star Wars. I love Star Wars. So we were like, my plan was to do the Toy Story Land and then head right over to Launch Bay at 9:00 and get in line for Chewbacca and Kylo Ren and BB-8. And as we were coming out, the herd, Steve, I've never seen so many people in my life going to one place at one time. And again, all those people did all that effort to get there, and there was already a park full of people. Like Slinky Dog the guy had it was a 90-minute wait already at the exit of Toy Story Land. He was just waiting for them to show like Slinky Dog, because as soon as it got to that point, it was a 90-minute wait, and he already had it up. Like they had no, like they're like, oh, we've seen this show before. And it's just like all those people are trying to get into that land. So you definitely just have to look at the schedule. And if you see early morning Magic at either of those parks, Magic Kingdom can handle it better because you can go over to like Space Mountain or Pirates side. But do not rope drop Slinky Dog if there's an early morning Magic, because you're just running into a mass of people in there. So we had to like go around them, get through, and get over into Launch Bay. And that was an experience in itself. And we were lucky, though. We got in Launch Bay. We were the first family. I never got this before. We got a certificate because we were the first family to meet Chewbacca of the day.
Really? What is
so that was cool, yeah.
What does the certificate say?
It just said it's got like Star Wars on it, and it's first family, and they write to meet Chewbacca and the date, and there's like a little signature on it, and it's has our name, the Valenti family, and all that. It was pretty cool. So my son got a kick out of that, and we all did. It's on our refrigerator. So I've never never got anything like that. I've never been a first family of anything. So at Disney World anyway.
I've got this vision of you and your son and the rest of your family. Like it's kind of like the running of the bulls.
It is.
Yeah, the bulls are coming at you, and you're just trying to get out of the way.
It is. I wish I put my phone on to videotape it, because like we had to like come out. The guy wouldn't let us go down past like Little Mermaid because they were about to let them in, and he's like, "Don't go there. You're gonna get stuck." So he made us go around, and I wasn't happy about that because I feel like we could have ran a little. Like it's just like everyone run. So we had to go up. So then we had to merge into the herd and then push through the herd to get over to Launch Bay. It was definitely an experience. So we used that hour before the breakfast went till 10:00.
And if somebody wanted to go to breakfast, like say they get in there, they meet. I mean, if for whatever reason, they get their stuff done early, then they can go eat breakfast whenever they want to. Correct?
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
You can. Yeah, if you want to. They let you eat breakfast. From 8 till 10. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would not recommend doing that, even if you just rode the rides over again. I would just wait till the end, because using that 9:00 rope drop, like already being in the park, because you could have left and gone over to like the Star Tours area and stuff, like started walking that way and gotten a little head start in Hollywood Studios too. You wouldn't have been able to get down to Rock and Roller Coaster because again the herd was coming up the street, but. You could have gotten over to like Star Tours. So the food was awesome. This was the best part of it. Where they beat the Magic Kingdom was they had like 7 different choices. They had like shrimp and grits, which was an interesting breakfast choice, but they had the standard breakfast. They had like a Mexican themed huevos rancheros type thing. They had a couple different choices for the kids, because I know my son had like they call them tater tots, and some like eggs and stuff. So they had a lot more options. So the breakfast was really good. So breakfast was an A. For
this day, you guys kind of did the same thing. This is like the one thing you did that day, or did you guys do anything else afterwards?
Yeah. So after we used that the time in Launch Bay, we came out and they had the first Jedi. The kids were doing the show, so we watched that with my son, and then then we kind of just moseyed on out. We were back at the hotel by this was a lot quicker because we were there 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then spent the rest of the day at the pool. So, it's just one of those things. If you wanted to you could stack your fast passes right then and there and done, rock and roller coasters and whatnot and stuff. With my son, he can't ride those rides, so it wasn't really in the cards for us to do.
So thinking about it overall, is this something you'd do again? I mean, obviously it sounds like Magic Kingdom's the better of the two. Is this something you guys would do again?
Yeah, absolutely. I would do the Magic Kingdom again. And I would say with the Toy Story Land is, unless they make some changes and make it a little bit better experience, if that is your only chance to do it and you have a limited time and you are not going back and that's it, then I would say go for it. But if you're a frequent person or you can get up on a non-Magic morning or you got a Fast Pass for Slinky Dog or whatever, I would just say save your money and do something else or go to the Magic Kingdom one.
Well, as we kind of finish up, I really want to thank you for bringing up the idea of doing this topic as a bonus show for our show. I know that a lot of people are always looking for something different to do before they go on their cruises or afterwards. I know you guys have a Royal Caribbean cruise coming up, and that's in August, I believe?
No, 4 days from the recording of this. So
that's with you and your wife, right?
No, my whole family and I are going on the Anthem in a couple days here, June 20th, I think, 21st maybe, and then my wife and I are doing one in September 30th now.
Okay, I had that backwards. I apologize.
No problem.
So, and then. How about Disney? Anything? Another trip down to Walt Disney World for the holidays, maybe, or anything? Or?
So we have our early December. We're going to Disney World to do Star Wars Land. Hopefully, Rise of Resistance is open by then. I was pretty jealous that everyone who went out to opening weekend. I kind of regret. I didn't know they were going to handle it so well and make it so pleasant for the guests to be in Star Wars Land. So I kind of regret not going out to that, hindsight 2020 situation there. But so we're going in December. Whole family to do Star Wars Land, and so that's that.
Yeah, 2019. I think that was like a kick in the teeth both ways, as far as it sounded like it was like they handled everything perfect for Galaxy's Edge. Being able to ride. Why can't I say the Falcon ride?
Smuggler's Run.
Being able to ride that, several times. The one thing maybe there was like some drawbacks getting into Olga's Cantina and maybe doing the lightsaber experience, but really get to experience that land, and then walking out to Disneyland where there wasn't very many people.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was like, I look back and I'm like, man, that would have been the greatest weekend to take your family to.
Yeah. I hope it happens at Walt Disney World for you guys.
I have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling it's going to be me and getting up real early and leaving everyone behind. So we'll see how it goes. We're thinking about getting a VIP tour, pulling everyone. We have 10 people going. Uh-huh. So I'm trying to convince them all that if we want to do Star Wars Land right, and hopefully they let the VIP tours go through, and let's splurge. Everyone do a Christmas present. No Christmas presents to each other. Let's get that VIP tour so I can enjoy Star Wars Land. So really, you're all giving me a Christmas present. So.
Perfect. Well, Adam, thanks again. And I know that we talked in the last show when you guys get back from your Royal Caribbean cruise. I'd love to have you come back on so that we can kind of compare that to all the Disney cruises you guys have taken. And I really appreciate you doing this topic today as well.
No problem. Thank you.
So, well, you guys have a wonderful cruise in just 4 days from now, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Adam.